Hello Internet, Cigar1001 here, and as promised, here is my black-white human spirit token, just smash your face in as fast as possible deck. The reason I built this deck was Lingering Souls. This card, I had a white deck that I had it in, and I was just splashing black just for Lingering Souls, and it wasn't really working out all that well. Because, I had a lot of token production cards, but I didn't have nearly as much as token production now. So I took those out of that deck, and I put them into this deck, just so I would have a token deck that was in standard and that worked. So, first things first is the land package. I have 2 Vault of the Archangel, 14 plains and 6 swamps. Eventually, 2 of those plains and 2 of those swamps will become Isolated Chapels, which reads: whenever Isolated Chapel comes into play, it comes into play tapped unless you control a swamp or a plains. Tap to add white or black to your mana pool. So over here to the 1-drops is Doom Traveler. A great card. 1-drop for a 1/1 that whenever he dies puts a 1/1 spirit with flying into play. These guys. Ooh. Then we have Selfless Cathar, which has 1/1 white. Sacrifice him. All other creatures I control get +1/+1 until end of turn. 4 of him. I've only got 2 slips in this deck because I can't find 2 more. That's why there are 2 extra lands and why I'm running 22 lands instead of the regular 20 that I run in all of my other decks, which I'm sure you've picked up. I run 4 Gather the Townsfolk, which is a very undervalued card in my opinion. Not a lot of people run this just because it's 1/1 white for 2 creatures, but the Fateful Hour is amazing. Because if I'm at 5 or less life, like say they're running that vampire deck that you guys saw, and I'm at 5 or less life, which happens pretty fast, bam, I've got 5 guys out. So that's awesome. Intangible Virtue is 1/1 white. Creature tokens I control get +1/+1 vigilance, which means that I can swing at you every turn with every last one of my spirits and human tokens, and they are open to block again, which is nice. And then I've got Break of Day. Break of Day is essentially a Selfless Cathar without a body, or vice versa. Break of Day was printed second, so that's the way I look at it. So, 1/1 white, creatures I control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Fateful Hour, if I have 5 or less life, they're also indestructible this turn. Then we've got Pacifisms. These are eventually going to become O-Rings. I just don't have the O-Rings on me right now, and, the next best thing to exiling a Delver is pacifying it. So that's always nice. Then we have Midnight Haunting, the older version of Lingering Souls. Only this one happens at instant speed, so if you're swinging at me with some big scary flyer dude, like say you're Olivia, I can pay the 3 mana at an instant speed, and bam, I've got 3 guys open to block now. Lingering Souls, which we've already been over, but it might be worth mentioning that it has a flashback cost of 1/1 black to do it again, but it is at sorcery speed though. Then we've got 2 of the 3 swords that are in standard right now. We've got Sword of War and Peace. The equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and from white whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player. Sword of Feast and Famine deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in his or her hand, and you may gain 1 life. No, and you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. Equip cost 2. Then the second sword we have is Sword of Feast and Famine. +2/+2 protection from black and green. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card, and I untap all lands I control. So that one's actually very effective for playing multiple spells in a turn and helping me to play my hand out. Also, they help me evade stuff that could get in my way. They also protect some of my other creatures from like O-Rings themselves. Then we've got Increasing Devotion. Increasing Devotion is not in many token decks or in many standard decks at all, because the flashback cost reads 9 and the initial cost reads 5. But, 5 to put 5 1/1 humans on the battlefield is pretty sweet in my mind, especially whenever they're getting pumped by Intangible Virtue, and I can sack a Selfless Cathar or Break of Day the board and just run your face over. it has helped a lot, actually. Because against other token decks, like black-white tokens, like Sorin tokens, these human guys really get in the way. Also, if I manage to hit turn 9, pop, I now have 10 of them. So one card gives me 15 dudes. Talk about card advantage here. Now, the only non-basic land in the deck right now is Vault of the Archangel, which is very, very powerful, but is most certainly a late-game card. Tap, add 1 colorless to your mana pool. 2, 1 white, 1 black. Creatures you control gain Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. So that means that either they don't block anything and you gain a bunch of life, or they block it all, their board is dead, and you gain a bunch of life. And seeing as how Intangible Virtue gives all of my dudes that are attacking Vigilance, I don't really care if you block them or not, because I'm still going to have them open to block your dudes. So it is just crazy powerful, and it gets your life total up and out of their reach, and like beyond their wildest dreams. They will never, ever be able to reach you if you're using these things and you're attacking every turn. So that's my black-white token deck. It is very, very fast. This was not the original construction. This is the post-tournament construction, and as I mentioned with the pacifisms, it's not quite done yet, because those are going to become O-rings, because I would rather have the Delver completely gone instead of just, sitting there on the board. Also, say I had an Infect deck, Phyrexian Swarmlord. His ability is a static ability. Elesh Norn, her ability is a static ability. Vorinclex, Sheoldred, Urabrask, those are all static abilities. Something more relevant in Standard would be something like an Olivia Voldaren. Because, she's a 4-drop. And while she may not be in that many Standard decks, she is in my Vampire deck. So, I know how scary she can get. So, it just helps me deal with things, but if Olivia Voldaren's out on the board, they can still pay the mana and still use her abilities. If I O-ring her, not so much. So, yeah, that's my deck. Rate the video, comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you would do it differently. If there are any cards that you think should or should not be in here. So, yeah, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.